Kamala Harris, along with other politicians of color, often engages in code switching, a practice where individuals intentionally adjust their speech and expression to better connect with diverse audiences and ensure their messages resonate culturally. This skill is particularly crucial in a political landscape where identity and race can significantly influence how messages are received and interpreted. Kamala Harris exemplifies exceptional versatility. As the first Black and Asian American vice president, she navigates various contexts with ease, whether grilling Supreme Court nominees, engaging with international dignitaries, or participating in cultural events like Diwali celebrations and enthusiastic performances with an HBCU-style marching band. This adaptability highlights her ability to bridge different worlds and effectively communicate across diverse settings. Harris's ability to code switch stems from her background as the daughter of Jamaican and Indian immigrants. Code switching involves consciously modifying one's communication style to enhance relatability and convey messages more effectively. For Harris, this means seamlessly transitioning between different cultural expressions and communication styles to engage with a broad spectrum of people. Former President Donald Trump's comments during a contentious interview with the National Association of Black Journalists reveal his lack of understanding of code switching. Trump criticized Harris for what he perceived as inauthenticity in embracing her diverse heritage. His remarks reflect a broader misconception that whiteness and a specific manner of speaking are default standards in politics and democracy. Christine Chen, co-founder and executive director of API Vote, emphasizes the value of embracing one's multiple identities. Chen, who is Chinese American, argues that a candidate's ability to celebrate and incorporate all facets of their identity allows them to connect with various communities and address diverse issues. This inclusivity fosters broader engagement and understanding among voters. Trump's assertion that Harris has misled voters about her racial identity and his insinuation that she cannot be trusted because she turned Black after promoting her Indian heritage is deeply problematic. This perspective ignores the complex reality of Harris's identity, which is inherently multifaceted and cannot be reduced to simplistic or exclusionary notions. Shireen Marisol Meraji, former co-host of NPR's Code Switch, discusses the challenges faced by multiracial individuals like Harris. Meraji, of Iranian and Puerto Rican heritage, notes that embracing multiple identities can lead to authenticity tests imposed by others. These challenges reflect a historical tendency to pressure multiracial individuals to choose one identity over another, complicating their ability to fully express their diverse heritage. Meraji, who teaches race and journalism at the University of California, Berkeley, asserts that the ability to code switch is a significant asset. For political figures like Kamala Harris, this skill not only facilitates connection with varied communities, but also poses a challenge to opponents who may feel threatened by her adeptness at navigating diverse cultural landscapes. Code switching refers to the practice of alternating between different languages or dialects, or adapting one's communication style to suit different cultural contexts. For many politicians of color, code switching is a strategic tool used to connect with diverse voter bases and convey important messages in a way that resonates culturally. This practice is particularly significant in the United States, where the diversity of the population includes 33.8 million people identified as multiracial, as reported by the most recent U.S. Census. While code switching is not a new phenomenon and is not unique to politicians of color, it remains a crucial communication strategy for them. For politicians of color, code switching can be an essential method for gaining influence and securing power in political and social spheres where they have historically faced barriers. It allows them to navigate and address different cultural expectations and needs effectively. Code switching can also play a significant role in improving the chances of receiving fair treatment, accessing quality services, or obtaining job opportunities, particularly for individuals who are disadvantaged or marginalized due to systemic racism. By adjusting their communication style, these individuals can better align with the expectations and norms of various contexts, potentially overcoming biases and gaining access to resources. The concept of code switching became particularly relevant in the context of recent political discussions involving Vice President Kamala Harris. After former President Donald Trump questioned Harris's racial identity in relation to his own diversity, equity, and inclusion statements, ABC News interviewer Rachel Scott challenged Trump's remarks by highlighting aspects of Harris's background that underscore her Black identity. Scott pointed out that Harris attended Howard University, a prestigious historically Black college, and pledged to the historically Black sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha. Additionally, Harris's parents, who immigrated to the U.S. during the Civil Rights Movement, further underscore her connection to Black and Indian communities. It is inaccurate to claim that Kamala Harris has only embraced her Black or Indian identity or engaged in code switching for political gain. In 2003, when Harris was elected as San Francisco's district attorney, she openly discussed her dual heritage. She emphasized that her Indian and African American identities are equally significant and mutually reinforcing, rather than mutually exclusive. The content highlights the complexities surrounding Kamala Harris's identity and political career, particularly in the context of her background, her experiences as an underdog, and the challenges she faces related to her racial and cultural identity. It also touches on comparisons with historical and contemporary political figures and the broader implications for political representation. Kamala Harris has often spoken about the influence of her late mother, Shyamala Gopalan, on her sense of cultural pride and identity. As a candidate for California Attorney General, Harris emphasized how her upbringing fostered a strong connection to her cultural roots. In a 2009 interview with India Abroad, she highlighted India's status as the oldest democracy and how this historical context has shaped her perspective and actions. This cultural pride and historical awareness contribute significantly to her identity and approach to public service. During Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign, Harris drew parallels between her experiences and those of being an underdog. She reflected on her own 2010 election as California's first Black Attorney General, where she faced financial disadvantages compared to her opponents. This personal anecdote underscores her resilience and determination in overcoming significant barriers, a narrative that resonates with many voters and contributes to her public image as a tenacious and groundbreaking politician. The content also references Donald Trump's contentious comments about Harris, which echo his previous propagation of the birther theory against Obama. Trump's questioning of Harris's identity and the mocking of her use of a Southern accent during a campaign event in Atlanta reflect broader issues of racial and cultural scrutiny. This scrutiny is reminiscent of past challenges faced by Obama and highlights the continued racial and cultural biases that impact politicians of color. The analysis notes that, historically, white politicians have not had to navigate the complexities of code switching to the same extent as politicians of color. For Harris, code switching, adapting her speech and demeanor to connect with diverse audiences, is a necessity rather than a choice. This difference in experience underscores the additional layers of complexity that politicians of color face in their careers. Chen's insights emphasize that successful political relationships are built on authenticity and responsiveness, regardless of the politician's race or identity. Politicians who demonstrate genuine compassion and understanding of their constituents' needs are more likely to form meaningful connections and address concerns effectively. Chen argues that authentic engagement is crucial for politicians to resonate with and effectively serve their diverse communities. The content reflects the multifaceted nature of Kamala Harris's political journey, highlighting the impact of her cultural background, her experiences as an underdog, and the ongoing challenges related to her racial identity. It underscores the broader issues of representation and the importance of authenticity and compassion in political leadership. Harris's career illustrates both the progress made and the persistent obstacles faced by politicians of color in navigating their roles and connecting with diverse audiences.